I'm Jackie Speier. I am proud to represent all of you in the Congress of the United States, where we can't seem to do what we're going to get done here today. This is an extraordinary collaboration. It's a collaboration of schools, county government, city government, mental health, in an effort to try and come to some understanding about what's going on in this country around gun violence, and do everything in our power to change the way we look at this issue. So I'm very proud to be part of this. A lot of people have done a lot of extraordinary work to make this happen. I want to say, first of all, to County Supervisor Adrian Tissier and Sheriff Greg Monks and Captain and Captain Mark Weiss. The effort coming from the county and law enforcement has been extraordinary, so thank you. And from the San Mateo County Office of Education, Nancy McGee has done a great orchestration in helping bring all the parties together, and Ann Campbell, who is our superintendent of schools here, deserve our applause as well. Thank you. And Steve Kaplan, Mental Health Services of San Mateo County, another great participant in this collaboration. We thank you as well, Steve. Now, normally at events like this, we introduce every elected official. Please accept my apologies now, because we're not going to introduce every elected official, because we won't get to why we are here. And I think you all appreciate that. So, we are on a mission here today. We are on a mission to change the culture of this country. And we're going to start right here in San Mateo County, and we're going to take it nationwide. Newtown will forever be seared in our memories. One of the most emotional moments I have had in my 5 years in Congress was when I met with some of the Newtown families. To capture it would be very difficult. But when one of the mothers said to me, my only daughter, my only child, and I had to make the decision whether to bury her or cremate her. I can't make decisions right now. Another mother said, you know, you in Congress are a bunch of talking heads. We in Newtown had different views on this issue, but somehow we found a way to come together. Why don't you in Congress just do the right thing? Well, in many respects, we haven't done the right thing yet, but I'm absolutely convinced that we will. But what happened in Newtown is happening across this country even now. There are shootings in schools going on in this country all the time. Actually, just weeks after Newtown, January 10th, in Taft, California, right near us in Bakersfield, there was a school shooting that erupted. 2 days later, a school shooting took place in Detroit. 3 days after that, there were more school shootings in Kentucky, Missouri, and Illinois, and another 3 by the end of the month. With each new tragedy, there is a preventable death. So we can't forget Newtown, but we can't forget the communities across this country where this is happening. Not maybe every day, but often enough that we should be doing something about it. And truly, it doesn't have to be this way. But it's important for us to appreciate that 80% of the gun deaths in the world, if you take into account the 23 wealthiest countries in the world, 80% of those deaths happen right here in the United States. And 90% of children under the age of 14 who are killed by guns, 90% are American children. Now, Americans are no more violent, no more suicidal, no more accident-prone than people across the world. But in other places, they have put in place safety measures that prevent the kind of carnage that goes on in our country. So, in Congress, we witnessed just last week a shameful defeat. You know, I walked onto the House floor after the vote had taken place in the Senate, and I'm numb. I'm numb by the fact that they didn't do the right thing. The easy thing. This was an easy lift. We were extending universal background checks to cover gun shows and internet sales. This is a law that's already on the books. And we can't ignore the fact that 40% of the guns in this country are purchased through that loophole. But I walked onto the House floor, and it was like, it was business as usual. No one was even talking about it. And I thought, you know, this can't be. Now here in California, we already have universal background checks. We actually have a gun registry for handguns. We will have a registry for guns that are long arms next year. And even with the strongest laws on the books in this state, people that want to own guns, and they have every right to own a gun if they're legally qualified, they're able to get guns. In fact, last year, there were 600,000 guns purchased in California. Now, if it works here, it can work across this country. CDC says that there are 20 young people under the age of 19 that die every day in this country due to gun violence. And half of them are African American kids. We have got to address this here and now. San Mateo County isn't immune to this. A 2-year-old toddler was shot in Menlo Park in January, along with a young mother. Just 2 weeks ago, a 29-year-old man was shot in East Palo Alto. And we've had our share of alarming incidents at schools. A threat at Aragon High School last month, a former student at Hillsdale High School carrying a pipe bomb and other weapons in 2009, and a shooting outside the Skyline College in 2009. You know, I'd like to recognize this morning someone who inspired me at a town hall I had in East Palo Alto. Her name is Betty Wilson. She lives in Belmont. Betty, are you here in the audience? Betty, stand up. Betty saw what was happening to her family in East Palo Alto, so she moved to Belmont. She moved her young child to Belmont so he would be safe. And yet, whatever the attraction was to some of his old friends in East Palo Alto continued. And she lost her son, even as hard as she tried to protect him. She has now created a support group for mothers who lose their youngsters. Betty, thank you for your courage and thank you for your work. So, what we're doing today is focusing in on 3 areas. Emergency management strategies that coordinate efforts between law enforcement, local governments, and the schools. Secondly, mental health resources that can be mobilized better and integrated within our schools. And lastly, collaborative information sharing across agencies and communities. This summit is a concrete framework for change. And you will see around the room questions on those easels being asked. So through the day, I hope you will contemplate these questions. At the end of the day, we're going to ask each of you to help change the world right here in San Mateo County by engaging in one of these collaborative efforts.